This is Greg Locke. If you're unfamiliar, he's a hate preacher, televangelist, megachurch pastor. He owns this this tent. It's like a circus tent kind of deal. He's going to talk about the fact that somebody, I believe, drove a whole truck of Bibles to near Greg's church and set it on fire. I think that's what he's going to talk about. By the way, I don't agree with that at all, really. That's kind of a dangerous form of protest. It should have been planned if they were going to do that, at the very least. While we listen to Greg Locke's ridiculous sermons and stuff, we're going to play a little Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Just be in the background, won't bother you too much if you never played it before. I've already beaten the game, and I started from the beginning. There will be no spoilers. I will cut them out if there is anything major.
And then I look down there, and there's fire trucks, and there's all type of city police and county police. And
Yeah, this is it.
it looks like a car's turned over by the mailbox. What's going on? And so I got closer, and of course you've seen, the footage and the pictures, and we have the whole thing on security camera video, which I've not even seen yet, but he probably wasn't expecting us to have that, but he'll be getting in quite a deal of trouble extensively. And so he takes a
Quite deal. Yeah, I think the guy will probably be in a lot of trouble for doing what he did. I agree. For lighting an entire truck on fire and just letting it burn. A truck full of Bibles. How much money did that cost this guy? Must have cost him $100,000 at least, right? I mean, just getting that many Bibles alone is crazy.
He scotches the wheels, right? He's got his hazard lights on at 5:58 in the morning. I'm like, wow, he's the most polite crook I've ever met in my whole life.
I don't know what he's talking about now.
I've never met polite Satanists and stuff. And so he unhooks the...
Real? You've never met polite Satanists? Are you kidding me? I mean, I'm not a Satanist, but I fancy myself pretty polite. I'm a non-believer. He's never met a polite non-believer, I'm assuming. I mean, is that a fair assessment of what he's saying?
Trailer and douses it with...
Sorry, step back. So the guy is talking to Greg? Is that what it is?
Wow, he's the most polite crook I've ever met in my whole life. I've never met polite Satanists and stuff. And so he unhooks the trailer and douses it with gasoline, with fuel. And then there were probably, if you saw the picture, probably 200 Bibles. I don't know where he got them.
I mean, they're pretty easy to order.
But he had to buy them somewhere, right? 200 Bibles on a trailer, and he blocked the Chandler Old Lebanon exit, thinking that people weren't going to be able to get into church, I suppose, and just set the whole thing.
I completely disagree. I don't think that's a good idea. He shouldn't have done that. I think that's wrong. Burning books at all is wrong. We don't need to destroy information like that, in my opinion. But that's just me.
Just goes up in flames, right? All these Bibles. Thank God we had a lady that was here in the parking lot that had drove in, and she saw it kind of when it transpired. It would have melted the wires and all of that. And so I'm walking down, and I'm like, you got to be kidding me! How many churches in America have a trailer full of Bibles get burned to block the parking lot?
Yeah, the dude shouldn't have done that. That's not good, truthfully.
So we were telling amen. So we were telling
I mean, it makes their persecution complex worse. It convinces Greg that he's correct about everything that he's done, which he's absolutely not. Like, some of the shit that this dude's done is horrific and wrong and disgusting. And also, it justifies burning books. I don't believe in burning books. I'm sorry. I'm never going to agree with books being burned. We should never be burning books.
The detectives and stuff, they brought FBI in and the whole deal. So I was like, hey, y'all gonna leave the trailer here? I said, we're gonna roll it up here, and I'm gonna start passing out pages of the Bibles so that people can start praying for our church, give everybody a charred piece, And they're like, no. They said, we've now turned this over not just to local authorities. They said, this is a hate crime against the church. And so,
well, it's not a hate crime against Christianity. It's a hate crime against the church. So no, I wouldn't even call it a hate crime. I don't think it's a hate crime. A hate crime is a crime against a group of people for who they are, for some inherent quality about them, right? Well, Greg Locke wasn't like attacked based on the fact that he's Christian. I think that the Bible burning took place because he's a D-bag, because he attacks people constantly and has so many people that, you know, he's upset, basically. That's my interpretation.
So they got the FBI involved, and so they wouldn't have us let us have any of the shards and the pieces and all that kind of stuff. But that's okay, because look, at the end of the day, stuff like that. Miles Rutherford called me this morning, dear friend of mine in Atlanta. Miles called me. He said, look, man, I know you're the kind of guy that this kind of stuff doesn't dampen you. It fires you up as much as that trailer was fired up. I said, yeah. And he said, let me tell you something. He said, he gave me a voicemail. He said, let me give you a word. He said, I believe what this is going to do for your church. He said, it's going to make you like Elizabeth. The babe's about to leap in your womb because you're about to give birth to something brand new.
Okay, so I guess that just because he had a, what do you call it, like a whole trailer full of Bibles burned in his, not in his yard, to my knowledge, but you know, near the road. Because he had Bibles burned near the road, I guess that means that he's going to give birth to like a new whatever. Is that what he's saying?
Kingdom in the spirit. So look, that kind of stuff doesn't bother me one bit. Pastors would get discouraged, and you know, the average church would be like, oh my goodness, they're coming against us. And
no, I don't think anybody would be discouraged by this. I wouldn't be discouraged if somebody did this to me. I would, especially with the amount of like news that came with it, like the amount of media coverage. This is not bad for Greg to any degree. This is good for Greg because it gets him attention.
I'm like, thank God they are. Thank God they are. If you think that Christianity is not under attack more than ever before in the United States.
Oh my God. It was not an attack on Christianity. It was an attack on Greg Locke, very obviously.
United States of America, you have not been paying attention. You need to get your head out of the sand.
This is what I'm talking about. This is the persecution complex going completely out of control. This is what I mean when I say that. This is why it's bad to burn a truckload of Bibles. I mean, you want to do that in the proper way, like with the city ordinances and everything, and get the fire trucks down there to coordinate this and that. Okay, well, I still don't agree with it, but all right. It's better than nothing, I suppose. But that's not even what happened, to my knowledge.
Quit being lukewarm. Quit being so passive-aggressive and mamby-pamby and, you know, spiritually sissified, okay?
Quit being passive-aggressive?
I'm telling you, they're attacking.
You know, we need to look this story up. I'm sorry. Give me a second to look this story up. I need to know what actually happened. Okay, so everything that I'm seeing here says Greg Locke says Bibles were set on fire outside his church. Pastor reacts after trailer Bibles burned outside his church. Is this based on what Greg Locke said happened? Because he's made some claims that were straight up, unequivocally false, that I can prove are false. And wild stuff, too. Like, he claimed that, like, the Freemasons hacked into his stuff and deleted an email when he was on stage and stuff. Daily Mail is garbage. I don't know if I can trust... I don't think I can trust anything here. But, okay. I think this is the local... Yeah, this appears to be the local news outlet. So let's see what the local news had to say happening.
Well, deputies say Bible burning on Easter Sunday could turn into a hate crime investigation. Someone burned a trailer full of Bibles near the Global Vision Church near Mount Juliet.
Now I'm wondering, is this picture we're looking at here, is this stock footage or is this real? I'm going to assume this really happened.
Mount Juliet. News 2's Nikki McGee has more from the pastor and also asks whether this could have been in retaliation to the church burning books.
think the fact that they chose to do that on Easter, the Bible, was very in your face.
Pastor Greg.
Yeah, and I think him burning books nonstop and burning Harry Potter stuff and all that other junk was very in your face too. I mean, I'm not justifying either. They're both wrong.
Locke with Global Vision Bible Church says he feels targeted. Sunday morning, he recounts surveillance footage showing a trailer full of Bibles. He estimates roughly 200.
Oh, it wasn't a truck. It was just a trailer. So somebody threw a bunch of Bibles in a trailer, drove it over there, and lit it on fire. Okay, that's not quite as bad as what I thought. It's still not good.
Being driven to the intersection in front of his church, doused with gasoline and lit on fire.
Yeah, so it was on public land, according to the story. It was in the street. That's dangerous, not good. That should be investigated for sure.
His security team would not share the video with us, saying they didn't want to compromise the investigation.
That's weird. Is that weird to anybody else? Are we sure this actually happened? Are we sure that it wasn't Greg that did this? What would the consequences be for Greg if he really did do this? They'd be pretty bad, right? And it would be pretty easy to prove that he did. I'm sure that there's some, fingerprints or something. And like I set up a surveillance system for my grandmother forever ago. Just, put like it was a cheap little thing. You just put like a little recording thing down and you run the wiring for the cameras all over the place. And I hooked it up to the TV in her room because she couldn't leave her room very easily. She couldn't leave the downstairs anyway. And it gave her an ability to like see what the kids were up to and stuff. And it overwrote what was previously recorded after like a week or something. And we actually had people in the neighborhood ask, hey, can you pull this stuff up for me? Like this car passed by in the middle of the night, like 2 a.m. or whatever. And I think they stole something from me. Can you verify that this car was here and went around the circle? And, we went in there and we looked, but it only held it for a week. It's feasible and plausible to think Greg Locke claimed that it was overwritten. I know it may be a little bit far-fetched to think that he did this himself, but he is literally straight up lied, openly, blatantly, flat out lied on stage before. I've listened to him tell falsehoods from the stage, in my opinion, for legal reasons. I want to make sure everyone understands this is my opinion. I think that he's done all kinds of things to make himself look like a victim when he really wasn't. And who is fond of book burning? It would be super simple, barely an inconvenience, if you will, for Greg to just tell him, oh, yeah, our cameras overwrite things after 24 hours. We forgot to grab the footage before it was overwritten. And then there's no footage. I don't know. This looks suspicious, like real suspicious.
Security team would not share the
So the security team wouldn't share the footage. Why didn't they ask the police if it was okay if they shared the footage? Why didn't the news say the police said don't share the footage? That's not what they're saying here. They're saying the security team won't share the footage.
Video with us, saying they didn't want to compromise the investigation.
I think they knew that we were going to have an extra barrage of people that were going to be here visiting from all over the country, and so it blocked the main entrance to the church, and so it was unfortunate. We get a lot of pushback, we get a lot of hate for some of our religious and political stands, but
I love that he calls them political stands. Okay, I need to watch the rest of this later. It's a 2-minute video. How is it 4 gigs? That's crazy. I would say that's crazy baloney, but it can't be crazy baloney because crazy baloney exists. It's called pepperoni. So I got that joke from somebody else, and I think it's hilarious.
Disrespected that way was a little unfortunate.
And perhaps not just disrespect. The Wilson County Sheriff's Office tells News 2 they're looking into whether this was a hate crime.
So Wilson County Sheriff's Office looking into whether it's a hate crime. At this point, I'm very skeptical that Greg was uninvolved. I don't know. I'm super suspicious because of all of the weird little things, the weird little details about this. I have no clue.
Will depend on if they find that this was a, quote, bias-motivated act. News 2 asked Pastor Locke about alleged book burnings at the church, including Harry Potter books, and if he thinks that could have played a role.
Obviously.
State law of Tennessee says that a church that would deem something occultic, they're able to, burn it. And so people...
Okay, he's trying to tell us that what he did is legal. I don't care if it's legal or not. I'm sure it's probably legal. It's just wrong. It's morally wrong, in my opinion, to burn books like that and objects and stuff because they're quote-unquote occultic. Like, what? Jesus, dude.
Here, book burning. Books were the minimal amount of what we burned. It was Ouija boards, it was charms and statues.
Oh, in that case, it's totally A-okay. See, I thought that it was just books you were burning, but since other things were also in there, then okay, got it.
And amulets and all type of things that people wanted to separate from that they would see as to be witchcraft in their life. And those books would have been involved in that.
Dude, the news, the fact that the news is giving Greg an opportunity to justify his book burning is kind of fucking disgusting to me. I'm sorry, man. It's just, they shouldn't have even given him an opportunity to justify. I don't know. Like, there's something called neutrality bias. I don't know if you guys have heard of neutrality bias, but some issues, the neutral position is wrong. Like the flat earth, for example. CNN, if they're talking about, I don't know, climate change or something, they don't need to bring on a flat earther to represent the flat earth position. They don't need to bring a climate change denier on to represent the position. Being objective and being neutral are two different things. So, in my opinion, they shouldn't have even had Greg on to talk about this. They shouldn't have given him the opportunity to explain why he burns books. That's neutrality bias slipping in. We should be looking at, like, objectivity. Is there, like, objective information to be had here? It's not okay to burn books. And, these guys just gave Greg Locke the opportunity, the what do you call it? Like, the platform to spread his ideas and explain why it was okay for him to burn the books and stuff in the first place. We're complaining right now about somebody burning books. So you just let this dude come in and justify burning books himself while condemning someone else burning books.
Says his church has held roughly 4 of these events, mostly around Halloween. However, he says he doesn't think it justifies burning Bibles.
People, they threaten us on a regular basis, and Satanists and people that claim to be witches and warlocks come here and put satanic Bibles in our church. And so I don't know if it was some type of retaliation. I just think it was unfortunate, especially on Resurrection Sunday.
See, they gave him an opportunity to justify his position. It's a neutrality bias thing. No, the position is it's wrong to burn books. That's a position being espoused in the news cycle or whatever. Like in this news report, it's wrong to burn books. And they just justified it. And they just allowed Greg Locke to justify burning books. That's what they did. This is just stupid.
People, they threaten us on a regular basis, and Satanists and people that claim to be witches and warlocks come here and put satanic Bibles in our church. And so I don't know if it was some type of retaliation. I just think it was unfortunate, especially on Resurrection Sunday.
In Wilson County, Nikki McGee, News 2.
Well, Locke also does.
Yeah, I'm sorry, man. I just hard doubt. And here's another reason why I'm suspicious. Listen to what he says here.
Well, Locke also does tell News 2 that.
Wait, Locke also does tell News 2. Why are you getting your reporting information from Greg Locke? That doesn't really check out. Why would you do that? Go pound pavement, go ask witnesses, go talk to people. Don't report things that you aren't 100% sure of. Like, this report in itself is making me suspicious that this is completely made up by Greg Locke, that he's the one that burned the Bibles.
FBI responded Sunday morning as part of the investigation. However, the FBI cannot confirm or deny their involvement. If you have any information on this case, you're asked to.
Yeah, anyway, there you go. Yeah. Honestly, I don't condone this, so I'm going to let them say the phone number here.
Contact the Wilson County Sheriff's Office, 615-444-1459.
So I don't condone it. Like I said, I condemn this. I don't believe in book burnings. And even as protests like this, no. I simply reject it. So that's what Greg Locke is talking about in his little sermon here. Let's continue listening to Greg and see what he has to say.
Attacking churches in America. They're attacking them. Can I remind you, for evangelical believers, and for Catholics for that matter, this is the most important day, historically and biblically, that you can imagine. And now Joe Biden makes it Trans Visibility Awareness Day.
Oh my God, dude. We cannot escape this ridiculousness. Just for the record, Trans Visibility Day has been March 31st. For 15 years, since 2009. And the president has, except for Trump probably, has tweeted out every single time, Happy Trans Visibility Day, or they've tweeted out like a decree that it's Trans Visibility Day or whatever. I mean, it's not like, this isn't like a plan to hurt Christians. What is wrong with you that you would think that way? Joe Biden tweeted, trans people are children of God, too. That's Joe Biden's perspective on it, seemingly. But these guys cannot handle that. It's like, it's too much for them. It's a joke.
If you think for any second that Christianity is not under an assault,
Christianity is not under assault.
and under an attack, you are not paying attention, friends. Wake up to the reality.
Yeah, wake up, sheeple.
Of the beast system is here. They hate those that tell the truth.
They hate those that tell the truth. Who's they, by the way, in this scenario? Are they in the room with us right now? Let me know what you think about it in the comments. This is absolutely insane to me. This whole thing is absolutely nuts.